everybody. So today we're going to try one from Oddside Ales. I'm going to butcher this. Bombon de la Muerte. I think is how you say that. I do not know Spanish at all, so sorry that I'm sure I butchered that. Bourbon barrel aged Imperial Stout with chocolate and Dead Sea salt added. Date on this was 9/1, meaning chocolate of death. So hopefully this has a lot of chocolate in it. 14% ABV. I want to say this was $6.99, $7.99, something like that in there. I did pick this up at Hoffman Street. And it was, I bought some beer, then I found two more that I wanted, and I know she said, oh, this one's very expensive. And some of these, bourbon barrel stouts are 10, 12 bucks just for, a single of it. So I was thinking like that. So when it came up $6.99, $7.99, something like that, I was like, that's not bad for a 14% ABV stout. So let's go ahead and get it open, get it into a glass, and see what we think. I like the can art on this. If I remember, I'll try and put a picture up of it. But it is a cool picture. Get it all in there. There we go. Yeah, some candles, then a skull, like a Day of the Dead thing. It's wrapped, so I'm guessing they just made those black cans like that. But let's go ahead and get into this thing. I only picked one up, so I don't know, that chocolate could fade quick, but usually on most of these I like to pick 2 or 3 of them up just to age them. Age a couple of them and see how they do. We do have a chocolate colored head, small and medium bubbles. The bubbles are popping pretty quickly. About a finger of head in this glass. Bubbles on the side are compact like dish soap color. Black. I might have a very dark amber hue at the bottom, but there's bubbles on there. Yeah, it's black. Yep, black as it should be. Let's go ahead and smell. Bourbon, barrel, oak, alcohol, roasted malt. Hate to say this, but this is what I think a very wet barrel smells like. It's going to be overpowered by that bourbon, that alcohol. I'm not really getting a char off of it, but that roasted malt's coming through. What is it? Death or chocolate of death. You think it would just be overpowering with chocolate, and it's not. You could say because they're using all that roasted malt, dark roasted malt, that you're getting chocolate, but I'm not smelling it that way. I'm smelling very roasted malts in there, but that barrel is really pushing through on this one. Maybe a little sweetness in there. But again, that's probably from all the grain they're using to push this to 14%. Yeah, I think a lot of people, hopefully on tap, that they wrote it down, but I wouldn't say it's big chocolate like they say on it. Death by chocolate. I mean, I would think this thing would be overly sweet. That would be the main thing that sticks out. Then you would get that roasted malt, or that charred barrel, that bourbon, that oakiness would be second. Like, I would load this thing with chocolate, and it doesn't smell like they did. But let's go ahead and taste, especially the sweetness. I don't think the sweetness is very big either. It is a little bit more subtle on that oaky bourbon barrel. I get the bourbon, the oak, the alcohol in the back. There is some sweetness up front. It seems like the sweetness is muting the roasted malt to me to how much it seems like it should be, and usually that big charred oak bourbon would be up front and it's to the back. So I would think something is suppressing that up front. It could be the chocolate. They don't mention just loads of chocolate, so I don't know how much that is per barrel. Yeah, I get a little sweetness, a little roasted malt up front. I think there is some chocolatey-ness in the aftertaste, but it's after the palate's warmed up. Right away, you get that charred oak in the back. It goes to the aftertaste. It's really bourbon oaky, and then with some bitterness in there. But then as the palate starts to warm up, it is more a little chocolatey like that, but not very much. Still a good beer though. I want to look at Untappd to see if they show maybe how many pounds they use per barrel. No. I don't know. I don't know what the sea salt is doing to this. I'm not really like in a Goza or something like that that is using sea salt or salt. You can kind of pick up that salt taste, but in a beer like this, I don't know what dead sea salt is or what it's doing or what else it's used on. I just feel it. I can't taste anything different just thinking about a bourbon barrel aged beer. It doesn't seem like there's anything out of the ordinary except for on the taste up front. It seems like something suppressing something up front, and that's why you're getting that. That's why I'm getting that oak, that barrel, that bourbon in the back instead of up front. My throat is a little warm, but you're drinking a 14% beer. It's still good. Usually I don't like my bourbon barrel beers that young because, again, I said it in the last video of the, what was it, the hazelnuts. I would rather have other flavors come through, so I let them set. But again, it feels like something's suppressing it, and I don't know what it is up front. On this one, I would have to go with a 4.25 out of 5. I can see it. It's still good, but that's because, again, for me, I don't like that big bourbon barrel oaky charred wet beer up front, and this doesn't have it. So if you do like that, maybe we'll see people score it a little bit lower because of that bourbon's not there, you know, in your face the whole entire way. I think it just needs a lot more chocolate. I was thinking that this was going to be more of a dessert beer, very chocolatey, very sweet, and just have that bourbon barrel mixed in there. And that's not the case, at least in my opinion. So 4.25 out of 5. Let's check Untappd real quick. 8 of my friends have had this, or have checked it in, a 4.38 out of 5. Almost 2,000 people have had this, average 4.19 out of 5. Jeff M., huge bourbon flavor, super chocolatey. So he's getting something a little bit different than I did. Then Greg, light barrel, dark chocolate. Maybe that's where the bitterness is coming from. But again, I want a lot more chocolate. You say chocolate by death, let's bring on the chocolate. Solid and boozy, chocolate, sea salt, and bourbon. I don't get that. Because even if you're eating a caramel with sea salt on it, you're still going to get that sea salt. And I just don't get it. I don't get it. But yeah, definitely a good one to pick up and try if you're into bourbon aged beers. If you like this review, check some more out over here. And until next time, happy brewing.